Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan Mae. This is just gonna be a little rapid fire Q&A on healing, starting over, dating, relationship psychology, and healthy relationships. So if you're interested in that, you're in the right place, and let's jump in. What are the first steps someone should take when starting over after a traumatic relationship? So for me, I was in an emotionally abusive relationship for 5 years, and clearly I wanted to be in it or else I wouldn't have stayed for 5 years. But if you are in any sort of emotionally traumatic relationship or like a trauma bond kind of relationship, you know that it's really hard to leave. When I knew it was over and I knew I had to be done, absolutely done and get out, I read a book, and it was an absolutely life-changing book. It was called Ignore the Guy, Get the Guy. I actually had a friend who told me about the book, and she said, use this book, use it to be done. So I highly recommend that book for anybody who knows that they have to just be absolutely done with that person and move on with their lives. Along with that is the first step is completely cut that person off. Block that number, delete it, have no communication with that person whatsoever. Then you have to take a step back and absolutely fall in love with yourself. And I feel like there's so much dating advice out there and all of this self-love advice out there. We say that we have to love ourselves, but no one really teaches you how to do it. And I think that it's hard to teach that because only we know how we want to be loved. So I think that it's whatever makes you feel good. If it's going to the gym every day, going for a walk, spending that alone time, that quality time with you. I think it's about filling your cup up. It's about taking that time to go into that villain era or whatever you want to call it and just be that bad bitch that you know that you are. It's taking that step back and filling yourself up so that you know from the inside that you don't need anybody to fulfill you. But at the same time, when you find somebody that is healthy for you, you guys can come together and come from a place of want, not need. And I can go into that later in this video. But yes, I think first step, I'm getting carried away already, but first step is cutting off all communication and reading that book, Ignore the Guy, Get the Guy. How can someone rebuild their self-esteem after emotional abuse? Whew. These are hefty questions. For me, personally, I had to go full-on villain era. When I first got out of the 5-year emotionally abusive relationship, I was dating a narcissist, and he had the ability to bring me up and make me feel so good, but he also had the power over me at the time to bring me down and make me feel awful about myself to the point where I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't like myself. I had no confidence. I didn't even want to look people in the eyes. I had social anxiety, believe it or not. So I had to go full-on bad bitch era, villain era, dark feminine era. So what does that even mean? I know all of these buzzwords are just thrown around, but during that time, it was when Cardi B started to become very popular. So I was rapping Cardi B in my car and like blasting the music and just like talking about myself in such a positive light. That's what worked for me. I was rapping. I grew up in Bay City, Michigan, and it's not the ghetto where I'm from specifically, but I did grow up with hip hop and rap music and really loving rap. So I would rap whatever it was, like Cardi B, Beyonce, anything that was a powerful, empowering song. So all that is to say is that music was a big part of my healing. So turning on that music that makes you feel powerful, whatever that is, whatever genre, choose that genre and really make it a part of that healing process. Have a playlist that you work out to, having a routine that's all revolved around you so that you can focus on you and heal yourself. It's about making yourself whole again. I felt absolutely broken. I know that. I felt shattered in pieces to the point where I didn't even know who that person was when I looked in the mirror. Because if you know anything about narcissistic relationships and the empath and narcissist, it's the empath was the giver and giving themselves to the point where they lose themselves. And that was me. It's like, who the hell am I without this person telling me who I am? You just have to rebuild yourself brick by brick. And that is exactly what I did. So I hope that helped you there. Start with a playlist and start building that foundation brick by brick, the foundation of you. What role does forgiveness of oneself or the other person play in the healing process? So start with forgiving yourself. I know that I was so angry at myself and hurt and sad that I would put myself through something so quote unquote awful for 5 years. Looking back, I know that I had to go through all of that to become the person that I am today. It may be hard when you're in it to see the end of the tunnel, to see the light, that you are going to be okay and that you are going to become a better person because of this. Just know that you have to be kind to yourself right now. Be kind to that person that was in that relationship for so long. Be kind and start to soften your heart, if you will, for yourself. You can put that shell on so you can build that foundation, if that makes sense, but have that soft heart for yourself. Not to feel victimized or feel like you're a victim, but to have that softness because you need some place to land. So holding yourself, being kind to yourself, and forgiving yourself is the first place to start. And then eventually, maybe not right now, maybe not this very moment, but eventually is forgiving the traumatic abuser eventually. And I don't even agree with it needs to be right here and right now, because we have to have some sort of wall up in order to heal ourselves. You have to have a boundary. You have to cut that person off completely. So all of this is in time. It doesn't happen overnight. It certainly does not happen overnight, but you can get there. What are practical ways to set boundaries in the early stages of healing? For me, I had to cut the person off completely, cold turkey. And I've had multiple relationships and they were different circumstances. So I think the best when you're trying to heal is cutting the person off. That is a healthy boundary. Boundaries are necessary when it comes to your healing. What are some daily habits that promote emotional healing? Exercising, going for walks, journaling, meditating, sitting with yourself, allowing yourself to cry anytime. If it's like in the shower, obviously if it's an appropriate place, but sometimes you just gotta wear those sunglasses too if some tears have to drip down. Allowing yourself to heal. And that is part of the reason I got into hypnosis as well, is because I really wanted to find a new way to heal myself from a lot of emotional abuse in the past and finding a healthy way to quote unquote escape. And I think hypnosis is such a beautiful tool. It's been life-changing for me. I want to start making some hypnosis videos on this channel. If you guys are interested in that, leave a comment down below. Let me know if you want me to make some hypnosis videos, and if so, on what. I am certified from the London Hypnosis Academy for hypnosis, and I would love to start making videos for you guys. How can someone avoid bringing trauma or mistrust into future relationships? You have to leave the old relationship at the door. You have to grow and then know that this new person is not the old, as long as you are not picking the same person in a different body. You have to grow first. You have to make sure that you've done your healing before you enter another relationship, because guess what? Wherever you go, there you are. So if you are just reliving the same pattern with a new person, that is not growth, that is not healing. So make sure you're taking the time to fill yourself up first and overcome those challenges. Rewire your brain so that you are not having those same emotional patterns where you are attached to that person in the same way, where you're not seeking validation and seeking possibly a narcissist. Make sure that you have done that shadow work, that inner work with yourself, so that you can come as a full and whole person into that new relationship. And when you know that that stuff is behind you, then you can be free to be in a healthy relationship that's brand new. What are the red flags to watch for in a new relationship? Ooh, I love this one. Okay. Love bombing is number one, where they are showering you with possibly gifts, compliments, saying, oh, I want you to meet my mother. You're going to love her. You guys are going to be best friends. She's going to love you. Overbearing amounts of compliments and almost saying that I can see myself with you right away. And they say they want to marry you, that you're the one, they found their person. When it's all too much too soon and it sounds just too good to be true, that is a ginormous red flag. How can someone ensure that they are emotionally ready to date again? Sometimes you can start dating before you're quote unquote ready, because you want to just get around people again where you can express yourself, laugh, have fun, enjoy. I think it's when you know that you're not going to cry at dinner and talk about your ex. I think it's that. Making sure that you are ready to enjoy that moment, enjoy that dinner, enjoy that person's company without bringing up that ex and that ex significant other, because nobody, not a single person on earth wants to hear about your ex. Don't do it. That's a huge red flag for you. Do not bring up your ex at the dinner table, ever. How important is communication in the early signs of dating? So I think that there's a couple different ways to say what dating is. Like, are you talking about dating as in you just are going on a couple dates here and there, or are you talking about you guys are officially in a relationship? I think when you are just on the first couple dates, to just dive in and say like, this is your checklist, and say that this is my boxes and you must check all these boxes. I think that is freaky for a man to hear, and that's too much too soon on your part. I think having this nice ebb and flow and just enjoying each other's company, talking about each other's values, seeing what you guys like to do for fun, seeing if you guys like enjoying talking to each other and enjoying each other's company. I think that's first and foremost before you just dive in and communicate all of your needs and your must-haves. Now, if he's also a very deep person and he's also giving you a checklist, if you guys both vibe with that and you guys both like that kind of thing, maybe you guys are just meant to be together and for each other. But I think is feeling it out and gently, slowly but surely communicating your needs of what you want in a relationship. But I think dropping a hammer or a brick at the dinner table and saying like, this is my checkbox and this is what I must have in a relationship, if you don't meet these, then get out the door. I think that you need to take a step back, take a little sip of your cocktail or your water, and just enjoy the person's company in front of you. And I think you'll see as you enjoy and have fun and laugh, you guys can slowly start opening up on some deeper levels. But communication obviously is very important. How can someone set clear expectations without scaring their partner off? I guess it depends on what the expectation is. You need to say it in a way that establishes that you value yourself, not in a way that is, if you don't do this, then this is the ladder. It doesn't need to come off in a way of an ultimatum, but it can come off in a way that is, I value myself and love myself so much that this is what I desire. This is how I expect to be treated. And then stick your ground with that, of knowing that this is how a certain way that you want to be treated. And then you can watch. You can just, instead of saying or else, you can watch over the next couple days, the next week, and see if they are meeting that need and meeting that requirement of yours. Words are one thing, but actions are a whole different playing field. So you will see if they are able to meet that need without you having to nag. Actions will show you so much more than words, because they could agree with you. They could say, okay, yes, I will or won't do that. But then you need to watch and see what they do for the next few days or a week to see if they're actually following through or if they are just bullshitting. How can you spot emotional manipulation or gaslighting early on? Wow, this has been so long since I've gone here. So how can you spot gaslighting or emotional manipulation? It is when they make you feel that you are crazy. They might call you crazy. They might say that you said something and you know you didn't, but they said it to you so many times, like, yes, you said it like this. And they've hammered you so many times that you've said it, and so you start questioning your own words and your own sanity yourself. So I'm probably gonna have to make a different video on narcissism and narcissists, because that is a very, very deep topic, but I hope that helps. Just don't let them make you question your sanity or your reality, and get out now. What are the key traits of a healthy friendship? Definitely being able to tell that friend something without them telling other people, having that established trust, of course. And obviously, if you find out that they are talking shit about you behind your back, they're not a friend to begin with. For me, it's having that trust, knowing that I can confide in that person, that they're not going to talk badly about me behind my back. That's it for me, really. How can someone set boundaries in a friendship without feeling guilty? It was knowing that a boundary doesn't make me mean. Not doing something doesn't make me a bad person. It was knowing that I had to make sure that my needs were taken care of, that my tasks were done before I would help somebody move, for instance, or go to a doctor's office with somebody just to sit there and keep them company. It was like, wait, this is taking away from my life and my day. So don't let people take advantage of you. Having that healthy boundary of, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Knowing that doesn't take away from you as a person. And if they aren't friends with you after that, after you setting your boundary, they weren't your friend to begin with. Just know that they were taking advantage of you and taking advantage of your kindness. That's honestly a great test, setting a boundary and seeing if they're still there with you afterwards. How important is it for people to know the 5 love languages and how to show it? The 5 love languages, if you guys haven't read that book, I think everyone should read it as just a basic level understanding and knowing of how to express love in a relationship because people are different. So the 5 love languages are physical touch, quality time, acts of service, words of affirmation, and receiving gifts. So knowing what you enjoy first, asking yourself those questions of what really lights you up and makes you happy and excited. I used to say acts of service. I think that is still very, very important to me. They've shifted so much for me. So I like them all. It's hard to just pinpoint like, oh, I need this, because I think it depends on my mood, because sometimes I really love physical touch. Sometimes I'm like, don't touch me. Let's see. Also, I love hearing words of affirmation. I love hearing I'm cute or something. And I love acts of service, somebody doing something for you. I think that needs to be number one for everybody, is acts of service, because words are one thing, but showing you that love, whether it's through physical touch, whether that's through receiving gifts, or whether that's doing something for somebody, I think that is huge. And then for me, quality time is much more important than just time, because you could be watching TV with somebody and you guys aren't talking. Maybe you guys are touching and holding each other or kissing. So that's different. But I think quality time is, for me, it's having deep conversations. It's doing something fun with that person, something exciting with that person, having dinner, having great conversation with that person, going for a nice walk. I think those are all great aspects of quality time with a person. How can someone handle rejection gracefully in dating? Knowing that you are a bad bee, no matter if somebody rejects you or not, knowing that you are an amazing person and that there's somebody out there for everyone, that we are not all the same. We are so vastly different that it would be a shame if we were all attracted to the same person, or if we all wanted to be with that one person. So finding that value in your uniqueness, finding that value in who you are as a person. And if they don't see that value, then bye-bye. It's great that they saved both you guys time, that they're not going to sit there and pretend that they like you when they really don't. Know that they saved you so much time. You saved yourself all that time. Because for me, how I see life is time is money and time is emotion. So if we are going to spend our emotions invested in somebody else and they don't care about us, let's save both of each other time and let each other go so that we can find the person that we're really looking for. So seeing it as a positive instead of a negative, I think that's how you can really deal with any rejection. What are some strategies for maintaining self-worth during the dating process? Definitely keeping your schedule for you. Once you start dating, don't just give up all of your hobbies and everything that you used to do when you were single and then revolve around that person. That is the worst thing that you can do. So making sure that you are still taking that Pilates class or taking piano or doing that hobby that made you so hot and intriguing to begin with, making sure that you're maintaining the person that you are so that you guys are coming together out of want, not out of need. How can you identify if your dating standards are realistic or too high? Oh, I really like this one. So I think it's okay to have extremely high standards as long as you also are that person that can handle those high standards. Let me just talk from my standpoint. I know that I have very high standards in my life. So I knew that I had to do the things that were required to become a person that could expect high standards. Let me elaborate. So I made sure that I read books all the time. I'm very well read. I continue to read books and grow as a person every single day. I take care of my health and well-being, both physically, emotionally, and mentally. I make sure that I am a well-rounded person, that I have manners. I make sure that I have my nails done, my toes done. I brush my teeth. I have great hygiene. I am a kind person. I make sure that other person is heard and respected and valued. That is just my example, for instance. That is just my personal experience, is I knew that I had to be a person that could expect those high standards. And I've always wanted that for myself in my life. So I think becoming that it girl, if you will, and I don't really like buzzwords, but we have to throw them in from time to time, I guess, but becoming that person, falling in love with yourself, becoming the best version of you is going to attract the best version of a partner that you can possibly expect. And maybe everything I just said, that's not you. If you don't want to get your toes done and things like that, and the Botox and the lip filler, like that's not you, that is totally totally fine. That is just something that makes me feel like the best version of myself and continue to grow every single day. There are people out there that don't read a single book that have extremely high standards. That's fine, and that works for them. Then they can also be with a person that doesn't require somebody to be well-read or well-spoken, things like that. So it's up to you. The main thing here is to become the best version of you so that you can attract and expect the best version of somebody else. And I think this has gone a little bit over, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. If you guys enjoyed this video and got some value from it, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in one of these videos up next.